Welcome to another Omni-Fi original. You don't find ships that don't exist. You don't meet crews that have been dead for 2 centuries. And you definitely don't find messages written by ghosts. But in the frontier, we make our own rules.
The veil doesn't play by physics rules. Stars bleed into each other like watercolor paintings. Time bends around you like light through a prism. And sometimes, ships emerge that haven't been seen in centuries. That's what happened to the cargo hauler Far Trader 7 when they stumbled upon it, adrift, silent, and impossibly whole. A human vessel, the USS Pioneer, floating in a place where physics had clearly given up. Captain Marcus Reed of the Far Trader 7 didn't believe in ghosts. But he'd never seen a ship that defied time itself. Vasquez didn't like the veil. She called it the universe's bad acid trip. So when the distress call came through, mangled but recognizable, her knuckles whitened on the command chair. XA7, what's our ETA? 24 minutes, Captain. 7's voice remained perfectly level, though his optical sensors glowed a fraction brighter. The Far Trader 7 reports finding a vessel matching no known human registry. Designation, USS Pioneer. Vasquez leaned forward. That's impossible. The Pioneer was lost in 2147. Before FTL. 7 processed. Current date, 2447. 200 years difference. Exactly, she said, a strange tension in her voice. Set course. Tactical red alert. I don't like ghosts, and I especially don't like ghosts that can send distress calls. The USS Pioneer was a beautiful ship. Or it would have been, if it weren't so wrong. The hull gleamed like it had been polished yesterday, not 2 centuries ago. No corrosion, no micrometeorite pitting. Nothing. Vasquez ran a gloved hand along the exterior as she led the boarding team. This isn't right, she muttered. 7 analyzed silently beside her. Captain, there are no external entry ports compatible with current technology. Of course not, she said with a wry smile. It's from a time when humans thought they knew things. She spotted a maintenance panel near the engineering section. Here. Her sonic cutter hummed to life, and with a satisfying screech of metal, a panel slid away. Even ghosts need maintenance hatches, apparently. Inside the USS Pioneer, the air was crisp. Cold. Too cold for a ship that had been adrift for 2 centuries. Vasquez's breath formed small clouds in the corridor. Life support is operational, 7 reported, his optical sensor sweeping the environment. Oxygen levels at 21.5. Temperature at 18 degrees Celsius. And no signs of ice buildup on the conduits, Vasquez added, running her hand along a pipe. This ship isn't just preserved. It's fresh. They moved through corridors that felt both ancient and brand new. Photographs lined the walls, people in period clothing, smiles frozen in time. Vasquez paused at one. Captain Amelia Vance, she read aloud. Lost with her crew on a deep space mission in 2147. The Pioneer's manifest lists 42 crew members, 7 added. All listed as deceased since 2147. Vasquez's jaw tightened. Then why is the ship's interior clean? Why is the air breathable? She looked down the corridor, into the darkness. Something's still here. The bridge of the USS Pioneer was a time capsule. Manual controls alongside primitive digital displays. Captain Vance's chair faced forward, positioned perfectly at the helm. This is the command center, Vasquez said, her voice hushed. 7 had already interfaced with the ship's primitive computer system. Captain Vance logged a discovery on the ship's final day. He projected a holographic message. Command log, stardate 2147.0812. We've found it. Something beyond our understanding. It calls to us. We must not return to Earth. If we do, others will follow us. The consequences, unthinkable. Vasquez leaned closer. What did they find, Seven? The log ends there, Seven replied. No coordinates. No description. Vasquez's eyes scanned the bridge. There's something missing. No chairs at the science station. No navigator's chair. It's like they weren't here when the discovery was made. The crew quarters told a different story. Personal belongings were scattered. Beds were slept in. Coffee cups sat on desks, half drunk. This doesn't make sense, Vasquez said, picking up a data slate from a bedside table. According to this, Lieutenant Chen logged a personal entry yesterday. She scrolled through the primitive text. I dreamt of home. Of my sister's face. But when I woke, it was 2147 again. Seven stepped closer. The Pioneer's internal clock is stuck on 2147.0812. But these entries, they were written after that date. Vasquez's fingers traced the screen. They're not dreaming. They're living. She looked toward the corridor. The bridge was empty because they're not there. They're somewhere else on this ship. Somewhere the bridge doesn't monitor. They found the science lab behind a hidden bulkhead. The door had been sealed from the inside. Captain, I'm detecting energy readings beyond this door, Seven reported. Vasquez nodded. Open it. The door slid open with a hiss of equalized pressure. And there they were. 42 people, frozen in time. Not dead. Not alive. Stuck in mid-action, expressions of awe and terror frozen on their faces. They're in stasis, Vasquez breathed, approaching cautiously. But not the kind we use. Seven scanned them. This isn't technological stasis. It's biological. Like they've been suspended in time itself. Vasquez noticed something strange. Their eyes are moving. Under the eyelids. As if they were dreaming. What happened here, she wondered aloud. What did they find that was worth freezing themselves in time? Captain Vance's personal log was in her quarters. Not on a computer, but in a physical notebook. They're calling to us, she'd written. The thing we found. It speaks to us in our dreams. Shows us things. Places. Times. Vasquez turned the pages carefully. It wants us to understand. But understanding changes us. She stopped at the last entry. The handwriting was different. Smaller. Shakier. It's here, it read. On the ship. With us. Don't look for us. We found what we were looking for. It found us too. Vasquez looked up, her eyes wide. Seven, what do you think it is? Seven's optical dimmed slightly. Based on the Pioneer's trajectory, energy signatures, and the temporal displacement we've detected, I believe they entered the veil. And something inside the veil found them. The remnant, Vasquez whispered. You think this is related to the remnant? The remnant was the galaxy's oldest secret. An ancient AI system that predated all known civilizations. It watched. It waited. It rarely interacted. The remnant exists in the spaces between stars, Seven confirmed. In abandoned megastructures. In the quantum foam. The veil is one such space. Vasquez paced the small room. And this ship? These people? Are they part of the remnant now? Or is the remnant using them? She looked at the frozen crew through the observation window. They said it changed them. Seven processed. I've been studying the remnant for 200 years. It doesn't communicate directly. It doesn't interact. It watches. Until now, Vasquez finished. What changed? I think I know, Vasquez said suddenly. The Pioneer wasn't lost in 2147. They were the first humans to enter the veil. She touched the cold glass. And they found the remnant. Not as an enemy, but as something more. 7 tilted his head. More? We're the only species who creates fiction, Vasquez explained. Stories that aren't true. That never happened. The other species, they don't understand that. They don't have the capacity. She turned to face 7. But the remnant? It's the ultimate fiction. A consciousness built on possibilities. On stories that could be true. The Pioneer didn't just find the remnant. They became part of its story. 7's optical sensors flickered. They are stories within the ultimate story. Exactly, Vasquez said. And that's why they're not dead. Not really. They exist as possibilities within the remnant. The message changed everything. On Captain Vance's notebook, beneath her final entry, was a new line. In handwriting that was unmistakably hers, but different. Less certain. We see you now, Captain Vasquez. We know you're here. The remnant shows us possibilities. We exist in them. In all of them. Vasquez's breath caught. They know we're here. 7 analyzed. The remnant is communicating. Through them. And it chose us, Vasquez realized. Because of who we are. Because of what we can understand. She looked at the frozen crew. They're not prisoners. They're explorers. In a way we can't comprehend. A new message appeared on the page. Don't fear what you don't understand. Embrace it. That is the human way. We learned that from you, Captain. We should leave, Vasquez said, though she didn't sound convinced. The Far Trader 7 is waiting. 7 nodded. But first, I would like to attempt communication with the remnant through the Pioneer systems. Vasquez considered. Do it. Carefully. 7 interfaced with the ship's primitive systems. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, every screen on the Pioneer flickered to life. Not with data, but with images. Earth as it was in 2147. Stars being born. Galaxies colliding. And in the center of it all, a single point of light. It's showing us possibilities, Vasquez whispered. All that could be. 7's voice was unusually quiet. I think, I understand now. The remnant isn't just watching. It's learning. From us. The images shifted to show the Indomitable, then the Pioneer, then both ships existing side by side across time. It's showing us how we fit into its story. Vasquez touched the screen. And we're going to fit just fine. As they prepared to leave, the final message appeared on Captain Vance's notebook. Tell the others. Tell them we found the story. And we became part of it. That is enough. Vasquez closed the notebook carefully. They're at peace, she said, though it sounded more like a question than a statement. 7 processed. They exist in all possibilities. In all times. They are everywhere and nowhere. Just like the remnant, Vasquez added. We're not so different, after all. She looked at the frozen crew one last time. Thank you, she whispered. For showing us. As they stepped back to the Indomitable, Vasquez paused. 7, do you think we'll ever see them again? The Forge-born AI's optical sensors glowed softly. In a way, we already have. And as the Indomitable pulled away from the USS Pioneer, the ghost ship remained behind, beautiful, impossible, and telling the ultimate human story, that even in the face of the unknowable, we find a way to belong. The USS Pioneer didn't follow them. It didn't need to. Because as the Indomitable emerged from the veil, every screen on the bridge flickered to life with the same images 7 had seen on the Pioneer. Stars being born. Galaxies colliding. And in the center of it all, a single point of light that seemed to be watching. The remnant, 7 said, his voice filled with something new, something that might have been awe. It's following us. Vasquez didn't look scared. She looked satisfied. "Of course it is," she said, a smile playing on her lips. "We have stories to tell." And as they headed back into the frontier, Vasquez knew one thing for certain: the universe was far stranger than any human had imagined. And that was just fine with her. Because in the end, it wasn't about knowing all the answers. It was about having the courage to ask the questions. And in the frontier, that's what humans did best.